Here are my top 10 tech items that I found practical and have utilized a lot throughout 2021. Some of the things that I'll mention may not necessarily be items that have come out this year per se, but I've acquired all of these things throughout 2021, so let's just dig in. Warming up with number 1, it is a very recent purchase, and that is the Elgato Stream Deck. Until I made that purchase, I knew little to nothing about those trendy gamer Stream Decks, so as soon as I saw MK2 in the name, I figured that should be the one I should go for, because logic. I bought this deck to control all the lights in my studio, but it turns out I can do a whole lot more with it, like creating workflow shortcuts in apps. For example, in Final Cut Pro, I can make quick color grading and other shortcuts to speed up my process and do fewer hand gymnastics while also cutting on editing time. If I were to point out one downside of this deck, that would be the screen's viewing angle, because as I look at it while sitting at an angle, it loses some of the colors that make my custom orange icons look discolored. Nevertheless, I'm still experimenting with it, but it slowly positions itself as a vital tool on my desk as time goes by. Number 2 on my list is an item I've never mentioned on my channel. It is called CarlinKit, and it is a wireless CarPlay adapter. If you have a vehicle that supports CarPlay from the factory but it's not wireless, this item is worth looking into. My car came with CarPlay enabled, but I always had to plug in my iPhone to use it, which became very annoying over time. At one point, I stopped using CarPlay at all, especially for short trips, because I didn't want to bother to take out my phone every time. The CarlinKit dongle plugs into the factory CarPlay USB port, and once the initial connection with the iPhone is established, CarPlay turns on automatically every time I start the car. Very handy indeed. In number 3 on my list, I have the AirPods 3 as my always in my pocket pair of earbuds. I made a dedicated video and guide on the AirPods 3 compared to the AirPods Pro and the regular AirPods, so be sure to check out the description below if you're in the market for new AirPods. Anyway, as someone who never liked in-ear buds, I'm delighted that this new pair fits my ears perfectly, and most of all, it delivers much needed punch and sound quality, especially when compared to the AirPods 2. I love the adaptive EQ and most of all, spatial audio. Next up is Nomad's titanium band for the Apple Watch. As someone who works out yet likes to dress up periodically, I've been on the lookout for the ultimate minimal looking band that fits any occasion. For starters, the weight is spot on. With this band, the Apple Watch feels very premium and balanced, making it a lot more like an actual old school watch without bringing any discomfort, while also reducing any skin marks when sleeping with it. The band can be worn in water and used at the gym, and the clasp uses magnets, making it extremely easy to snap into place, creating effortless attachment and removal. Next up is my IQUNIX PC build that I had the pleasure to put together with Dimitri from Hardware Canucks. To be completely honest, I don't consider this build very practical, and complete transparency, I almost sold it. As much as I push myself to play more games as a way of distracting my brain from constantly thinking about work, I have probably spent between 10 to 20 hours since it was built, which is a total shame. I recently placed it on my desk again, however, and now I am on the Call of Duty World War II wave. And the case itself is probably the reason I put this computer together. It is just stunning, and although it needs, more improvements in terms of cooling, I'm delighted at how it turned out. I'll link the case first thing below alongside the actual build and the parts list, so be sure to check it out in the description. To enjoy my occasional gaming sessions properly, the PC is hooked up to the 38-inch UltraWide 144Hz LG monitor model number 38WN95C-W. This is my ultimate Mac and PC productivity/gaming monitor that I have a hard time finding a replacement for. This LG monitor features a nano IPS panel with 100% sRGB and 98% DCI-P3 and VESA HDR600. To sum it up, great picture quality. As far as connectivity goes, it comes with a Thunderbolt 3 port providing 94 watts of PD power, which is more than enough for my Mac. To be honest, this monitor spoiled me because of the 144Hz refresh rate, which is hard to run away from. Even though Santa didn't bring me an Apple XDR monitor, I have a hard time imagining spending a ton of cash on a display with a slower refresh rate. The only thing that this monitor is missing is a remote control, and since I use it, in dual screen mode a lot, switching between the Mac and the PC as well, the process of using the bottom joystick is kind of clunky. By the way, if you're on the lookout for a monitor and have second thoughts about the size or aspect ratio, check out my monitor guide that I released a few months ago. It is still very relevant and hundreds of thousands of people find it helpful. And second, by the way, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, because why not? The next item that I enjoy every day, especially in the long winter evenings, is the Xiaomi Mi Computer Monitor light bar. It was a while since I used a Xiaomi product, and I can't twist my soul and not give them credit for this minimalist approach with this light. The bar attaches magnetically on the monitor stands for starters, which means that the cable does not pull on the actual bar, while allowing for more effortless tilt adjustment. The most significant selling point on this accessory, if you ask me, was the included remote control in the form of this ultra minimal rotating knob, which sits on my desk. With it, I can adjust the brightness and color temperature on the bar without having to, stretch and try to guess which capacitive button I'm actually willing to press. As a bonus, this knob looks too good on any surface, and I'd buy it as a prop on its own. My iPhone 13 mini is the ultimate device for 2021. I've done a ton of coverage on this little guy, and for a good reason. The 12 mini introduced me to the magic of having a compact phone, but the 13 mini was the version that wiped pretty much any prior complaints. Excellent battery life, fantastic cameras, and a form factor that eliminated the traditional wallet and made me carry just my phone and pretty much my keys. Many people have asked me about the animated motivational wallpapers that I introduced a while back, and I'm glad to tell you that I'm on the verge of finishing an entire pack that I'll first notify about on my bi-weekly newsletter. I know it should have been done a long time ago, but all the wallpaper packs take time to create. So if you want to be among the first to know once it's out, you can sign up for my free newsletter where I share fun moments from the kitchen of this YouTube channel. I have an end of the year newsletter in the works, and I'll probably send out some coupon codes for free downloads as well. The Sony ZV-1 point-and-shoot camera was purchased in the midst of, building this studio as the most compact way of having a 4K shooter that can help me fill out some missing shots when I'm doing my projects and I'm not in the other studio. At first I thought I had made a mistake when I purchased this little camera, but it paid itself off as time went by. I use it for many things, including Instagram photos and even top-down shots. It has some downsides, the biggest being overheating, but I can't really complain about a tool of this size. I wonder how it can be utilized for vlogging, since it is advertised as such, since it doesn't take long before it spells out the thermometer warning. Perhaps if used in Full HD and not 4K, it may last longer before it heats up. And also, the battery is tiny, but anyway, I love it. The HomePod Mini is the piece of tech that I talked way too much about to my friends over the last few months. When I moved to this studio, I purchased a pair of the minis, which you can actually see one is there. And they're the next most used tech around here after my computer and all the other gear for filming the videos. Paired together, I use them to listen to music while working and also to watch content on my iPad, as they sound too good for their size. The audio separation and punch they deliver is shocking, and whoever shows up here and tries them, they're just as surprised as I am. I now want to own a pair of the larger discontinued HomePods, but it's too late.
That's sweet.
Anyway, this is the last video for 2021, and for those who made it here, all I can say is thank you. And I wish you a fantastic 2022. It's been an absolute pleasure. This is Z, over and out.